heard, and I'm happy to come and share with you my views on where this is all going. I do have a disclaimer before I start talking about AI, is that one, I am no expert. Two, I'm no expert on marketing or AI. What I'm just simply doing is observing what's going on and seeing how best I can benefit or you can benefit from the raw power of AI that is at your fingertips right now. So disclaimer, these are just my observations and recommendations. I am not an AI expert. I am a practitioner of marketing and media, and these are my views. Right. So what's the big fuss about AI? I mean, every time some evolutionary thing comes along or an evolutionary moment comes along, people come around and say, is this the end of the world, the way we know it, nuclear holocaust and stuff like that. But do we really need to fuss about it? I mean, I have seen these kind of images around AI circulating a lot. A lot of people have shared that they're worried about their jobs. A lot of people have shared that they're worried about the way their industry will shape up. What does AI really do? AI is the product of mankind or human imagination. It collects all the data available, connects the dots across the data when you put a prompt out, and then it gives you an image. So AI is something that humanity has created. It has an output. The output is all that you have fed into it in the past. Right? Now, every time something new comes out, people get a little worried. But isn't that the way Darwinism evolved? Isn't that the way humanity has evolved? I mean, let's look at some evolutionary moments. This guy here was the way we were communicating messages across the world till this guy was invented. This guy here got worried when this came out. This guy got worried when this came out. I'm going to stop here. A lot of you are young. How many know what this is? One hand. Less than 30. One hand. This is something that is to be a, what is it? Pager, correct. So I could send out a message to someone without having worrying that they'll send me anything back. So I could just pass instructions on. And then this guy got worried when this came out. This guy got worried when this came out. And trust me, this guy is very worried because this is out right now. And there may actually be a moment, not very far from today, when all you need is a VR headset and a speaker, and you don't need a phone. So evolution has been happening. It was there, it is there, it shall continue to be there, and we've always found a way to use it to our benefit, and therefore come out on top. Now, probably the most English you will see on these slides is this, and I'm going to read it out because it's a very specific definition. The emergence of AI is tied to a linguistic evolution, blending human feedback, important word, blending human feedback into a cycle of continuous learning. That's why you see AI get smarter over a period of time, and adaptation, making AI autonomous, self-sufficient, and ultimately unavoidable. It's there, it exists, it will only grow, it will only get better, so we have to learn to use it to our advantage. But whenever we use AI, we have to keep in mind one very important factor, and that factor is biases. Now, it's not very often that you open a pod and you see 3 white peas inside. You expect to get green peas. But let's give 2 examples. What do I mean by this? Let's say I go to a certain shop and I buy a packet of peas. And in that shop, for every packet of peas that I buy, I may end up with one pod which has got white peas. I go there a second time, the same thing happens. I go there a third time, the same thing happens. But when I go there a 4th, 5th, and 6th time, I may just get a packet full of normal green peas. But the bias in my mind is that probably whenever I shop from this particular outlet, I get a pod with white peas. Now let's look at a more daily application. Let's say a college outsources its entire screening process to AI. So AI receives 1,000 applications, and as luck would have it, during the time of those 1,000 applications, 20 of them from a certain location do not qualify. And the reason they are eliminated is whatever the criteria the college set. But the pattern that AI notices is that people from a certain area, since I live in District 2, I'll say District 2, people from District 2 have normally not qualified for that college. AI learns that as a bias, and that bias management becomes important because it could so happen that AI starts rejecting everyone from D2 in the future because it has learned that bias. So being able to manage that bias into AI becomes extremely important. But we are all practitioners of marketing and media, right? I don't know whether there are any finance guys in the room. There are. Okay, great. So let's do this. Okay. Practicing AI, I think there are 5 things that I want you to remember that you can do today to probably come out as winners tomorrow. Right. Number 1, first brand, last order, which brings me to my topic, which is they know my favorite cookie is an OREO. Now, how do they know that? I'm going to present 3 facts to you. Fact number 1 is this lady, and you see she's doing something that all of us do, which is speech to text. Some years ago, there used to be these people who used to say, we are witnessing the dying art of writing. Today, I'm witnessing the dying art of typing because people just speak into their phones. Then over here is something that's there in my home. It's probably there in most of your homes. It's called a voice-based gadget. Alexa. There's this old joke that the only woman who really understands me is an Alexa. Oh, we have a few people, okay. Bye. Alright, it's an old joke that the only woman who understands me is an Alexa. But I specifically chose Alexa because this is integrated to their Amazon store. So you've got a fact that there's an Amazon store that powers Alexa. Now, I have the habit of ordering or buying 6 Oreo packs every 2 weeks. So typically on the 11th and the 30th of the month, I end up buying an Oreo. Now how do I do that? Because Alexa is integrated back to the Amazon store, I will tell Alexa, Alexa, buy me cookies, Oreo cookies. Alexa picks up that pattern and then she says, okay, so on the 11th and 30th of every month, Ashish is buying cookies. So on the 11th and 30th of every month, she prompts me, Ashish, shall I buy you cookies from Oreo? And what does she say? She doesn't say cookies, she says, can I buy you an Oreo? And that's how AI knows that my favorite cookie is an Oreo. So what do? First brand, last order simply means is that when I'm buying a category, the first brand that comes to mind is what AI will learn, and that is what people will keep ordering over and over again. Which means that any other brand launching a cookie or any other company launching a cookie will have a very tough time getting into my mind space because I'm always used to ordering an Oreo. It'll also probably sell me a subscription. So it'll tell me that here, if I were to subscribe for this. The implication, the battle for top of mind is today to win an AI-powered, voice-based future. Second is, figure your brand's digital signature, which means that what does your brand sound like? Like for how many of you are fans of Nike? Nike's got the whoosh. And like that, there are various sounds that various brands have got. You need to make sure that your brand has a clear digital signature which will trigger the thought of your brand in their minds. And finally, push to be the first e-com choice in your category, which means when people are buying online, they should be naturally buying your product. Next, how many of you watch Netflix? Show of hands? Quite a few, excellent. Now, there are times when I am forced to impress Netflix with my choice of movies because Netflix has this little thing called because you watched, and then they start presenting to you, equal types of movies or series that you've watched in the past. So because you watch Netflix, because you watch a certain movie, you'll start making recommendations. Now, I'm going to present you all 2 facts. Fact 1, I love watching Netflix. My favorite genre of movies is action, hopefully military. I like to see an Asian star, sometimes Indian, sometimes Asian. And I also like a little bit of mythology. Now, in my house, there's one television, which my wife and I both watch. But we get onto Netflix, we both have our different IDs. So what does she watch? She also likes to watch action movies, but she likes a little bit of animation. And who doesn't know this lady? My wife has watched that documentary over and over and over again. So same device, 2 IDs, same base choice of action movies, but different content that we are trying to watch. Right? Imagine the situation which could happen today. Netflix knows what I watch, Netflix knows what my wife watches. It creates the same storyline for both of us. but we both have different story paths in that line. So it's the same actor, same actress, same kind of action, but I don't mind watching a little bit of blood being spilled while a shooting scene is on. My wife hates blood. So they'll create a movie from the same one for her, which is different, and for me, which is different. But it'll all be the same movie. And the day Mindshare pays me enough, I'll be able to afford these two together. And therefore, sitting in the same living room with the same popcorn, we could be watching the same movie, but with very different endings, very different sequences. And that is possible today because of the way AI is able to create images and videos at speed and scale. Therefore, because you saw this, dynamic content optimization at scale will soon be a reality. So, for those of you who work with DCO, dynamic creative optimization, you will also know that dynamic content optimization is something that's just around the corner, and Netflix will be able to make movies just the way you like them. So, gather first party data, get to know who your customer is, you have heard a lot of that. Track content preferences, A/B test to sharpen, and then personalize at scale. The reason I asked is there any finance person in the room is because, yes, today this will be expensive. There will be a CPM cost, there will be your overall media buying cost, which will be very high. But over a period of time, it gets normalized, it comes down, Murphy's Law, and we will be able to see a lot of this coming out in the near future. Next, moody blues. How many of you have got laptops with cameras in front of them? All of you. How many of you have got phones with cameras on them? 110% of you. And also your iPads, the same thing, or your tabs. What does it do? You can log on to your machines by scanning your face. Right? My machine has probably seen each one of these moods. This is a lady, this is the best picture I could get. I could not capture myself in these many moods. But this is a lady with different kinds of moods. Now imagine, apart from recognizing your face, because of your facial feature at the time that you are getting scanned, AI is also able to understand and know what is your mood at that time. Maybe your Wi-Fi router can also detect it based on your facial features. And it's happening right now. There is technology available today which can track 7 emotions, the basic 7 emotions, which is happiness, surprise, content, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. Right? So what do we do? Knowing the consumer's emotions before serving them a piece of content becomes a powerful tool in your hand, which will help you know whether you should, what kind of content you should be serving back to the consumer. Right? Media planners become personalized emotion managers, which means that they are able to know what your emotion is and then accordingly serve you content. So you are able to cater to the exact need state of the end consumer at the time the content is being served. And I think more importantly and very powerfully, the powerful choice of not serving content when the consumer shall be least receptive is also the power that will be in your hands if you utilize this technology correctly. Right. Then, overload. Who doesn't like a good beef burger? I mean, I do. Right? It looks great. It's not healthy. Most tasty things aren't. So this is not healthy, but it's an overload, right? My next topic is nothing to do with beef burgers. I'll just come to the point. I love traveling to Bali. It's a place that I go pretty often. The last time that I went to Bali, I wanted to do something new, something different. So I went onto YouTube and I searched for things to do in Bali. I came across 17,363 different videos of pretty much the same thing. Every time I was looking at the video, there were the same 10, 15, 20 places. You had a lot of influencers who were going there, probably going through the same experiences. And after looking at the 10th or 12th video, I had given up. I'm like, no, this is not something that I was looking for. So this is a fact. This is a fact. And there's also a fact that AI-led influencers are growing. They're becoming a more center stage reality. So how do we use them? How do we make sure that they are in line with what your consumers are looking for? While I was searching, I came across this guy. So who knows who this is? We have a fan. There we are. So David Beckham, correct? I came across a video from David Beckham and it said David Beckham in Bali. I was like, okay, this sounds authentic because nobody used to pay David Beckham. So this will probably be the most real experience I will go through. He went to this waterfall. I went there. He met up with some locals. I did that. I had to cut that out to give space. And they went for a trek. He and his wife, which is Victoria Beckham. I know that. You should too. So with Victoria Beckham. So we went there. Yeah. What did I look for? I looked for authentic experiences. I looked for someone who I could relate to, I have respect for, and he went to a certain location, and I enjoyed looking at that, and I went ahead and did it. It was way better than any other 15, 20 places those influencers were recommending me to go to. So real is rare. Authenticity is rare. Your content needs to be real so that we have this word rare removed from here. Therefore, what is the implication? People will look for authentic experiences. AI influencers are growing trend, but at some point will be more transactional because authenticity will be lost. So it's important for the AI content creator to try to remain as authentic as possible to the end consumer, otherwise the relevance may not prevail. Being only an influencer will not be enough due to the overload, at least for me. I will not go by an influencer. There is an overload. I am not getting influenced. But authentic winners, experts from different skill sets will be followed, like I follow Beckham, and people will aspire to have a slice of their authentic selves. If you're authentic in your content, it will stand out. If you're using the right influencer relatable to your content, it will stand out. And finally, dare. This dare is very important. Here's a fact that came out a few days ago in a magazine called the Harvard Business Review. I'm sure a lot of you read it. That AI does work is 40% more efficient at certain tasks versus human being. What is the implication of this statement? AI is 40% more efficient than a human being in certain tasks. That means as a media marketing practitioner, 3.5 days out of 5 days I have work to do, but for 1.5 days I have no work at all because AI is doing 40% of my job. Now, my company is not going to tell me it's okay, Ashish, you can sit at home for 1.5 days more, let AI do the rest and we'll pay you the same. I have to use this as an opportunity to see, as a media marketing professional, what more can I do? And therefore the dare. Do you dare to block off 1.5 days from your calendar on a weekly basis and do the following? Invest in data science and analysis. Gather data from all the various touch points that your consumers are engaging in. Understand the category, understand the consumer, and really get to the skin of what, or under the skin of what your customer or consumer is looking for. That's at an AI, that's at a data level. Second is, dare to spend time out in the field with the customer or your consumer at the moment when he's either A, experiencing your brand, or B, experiencing the need state of your brand or your category. That is when you will authentically be able to identify what he's looking for, why he's looking for it, and therefore create the right brand, content, and commerce solution for that customer. Like I said at the beginning, humanity is the one who invented AI and not the other way around. It came out of imagination and was able to create. So the power is in your hands. Imagine what the future will look like. AI can't do that. And create that future. Thank you.